Not that Aaron Rodgers watches this show, but Aaron, if you're watching this morning, you probably should turn the channel now because we are going to spend time talking about what could have been for you and what is for plenty of other quarterbacks who, unlike you, actually got help in the draft. And if you're looking at the TV screen, and of course you are now because we're no longer on radio, although we are on Sirius XM 211, so it still applies to a certain extent. Those are the first-round receivers drafted this year. And the draft for now, Chris, the quarterbacks who got the most help by way of the 2020 draft. You've got the trivia question for me, which means I'll get it wrong. You'll get the first pick. Let's just go ahead and play it out and see if I'm right. At least I'll have something right this morning.
Okay, well, let's see how you do. All right, here we go. Which QB has the most career TD passes to first-round picks? And just while you stew on that and think, this says it all. You know how many touchdown passes Aaron Rodgers has to first-round picks? One. To Mercedes Lewis, a tight end. That is it.
Are we talking about all time? All time?
All time.
Joe Montana. Joe Montana.
Ooh,
Joe Montana.
I was going to give you a clue, and you had to jump the shark and go,
Rice.
Mr. Know-It-All.
It's Jerry Rice. It's Jerry Rice.
No. Peyton Manning threw 90 zillion touchdowns to Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. They're both first-round picks. You lost.
And Demaryius Thomas.
And Demaryius Thomas. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So he threw 293 touchdown passes to first-round picks, which is remarkable, really, when you really think about it that way. Was Dallas Carr a first-round pick? I'm just trying to. Yeah.
What was the hint going to be? His forehead's as big as mine? I don't know. What was the hint?
I was going to say it's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, just to let you sit there. Like I was going to name
I still would have
some
said
of the,
Joe Montana.
I know, probably, yes. So you lose, I win. I like it. To me, this is an easy one right off the bat. I'm going to go with Drew Lock. I mean, how can I not? I mean, Drew Lock, for what the Denver Broncos did in the first 2 rounds of the draft. I mean, first off, we know there was some talent there on that Denver offense already we were excited about. But when you add Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, who I look at KJ Hamler and thought, I mean, he was the number 4 receiver in the draft for me, Mike. I know I'm not like Johnny draft expert all the time, but I'm pretty damn good, and I've been around a lot of good receivers. I'm still trying to find someone to tell me the difference between Hollywood Brown, who was a first-round pick, and KJ Hamler, and why he was a second-round pick. Now, I think there were some injury issues there, but I just look at those 2 weapons and go, wow, instant contributors, instant, gonna put fear into defenses right away, along with the weapons they already have. So I'm very excited about what they're doing in Denver right now.
Yeah, and they even added another receiver in round 7, I believe, Tyree Cleveland from Florida. So 3 receivers for the Denver Broncos as and they already have Cortland Sutton.
Well, and a tight end. Right.
Yeah,
and a tight end
in round 4.
Right. So he was one of the combine freaks. So you look at that and you go, wow, there's some potential there for that Broncos offense.
I'm going to go with your guy, Josh Allen. In part because the first-round pick, the 5th-round pick, and the 6th-round pick became Stephon Diggs. And then on top of that, Brandon Beane drafted 2 other receivers, Gabriel Davis and another guy late in the process. But they're doing what they can to beef up the offense. And you throw in Zach Moss, the running back, who had 388 receiving yards last year at Utah, who becomes the complement to Devin Singletary. You are helping your quarterback. You know, Aaron Rodgers got a running back, but he's not really a pass-catching running back. He's not going to diversify the passing game. He's more about building a San Francisco-style running game in Green Bay. Josh Allen got 3 receivers and a running back who had 388 receiving yards last year at Utah, and I think the Bills have done a lot to help push that offense toward what it was like back when Jim Kelly was the quarterback.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, hey, you know me. I'm one of the band leaders, or one of the, get on the bandwagon for the Buffalo Bills. I love Josh Allen, you know that, and I love what Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane are doing with that football team. They have a plan every year. They're building something to be sustainable and be competitive in the NFL. So I'm with you. There was some good things there in the draft. The more I look at this, I go, man, this list is a little longer than I thought it was going to be as far as guys I could possibly draft here. I think here I'm going to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. All right. And I know it's really only two guys, but a little along the same lines you just talked about. I mean, they got a big time receiver in Brandon Ayuk, who I think everybody was looking at. He's going to get drafted somewhere between 20 and 32. And we heard John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, I think they were realistically thinking if he was on the board at 13 and they didn't like anybody else, I don't think they were afraid to take Ayuk at 13. That's how special Shanahan thought he was. But then we have to add in the factor of day two, getting Trent Williams and trading away draft picks. Trent Williams is a Hall of Fame left tackle. I mean, he is big time. That was already one of the best offensive lines in football. And it's just rare you can say, hey, our retiring Hall of Fame left tackle Joe Staley just left. What? We're going to be better this year on that position with another Hall of Fame left tackle and Trent Williams? So not necessarily like great depth as far as helping Jimmy Garoppolo out, but if you gave me two guys to maximize their importance to an offense in year one, I would think 49ers and those moves would be right up there with anybody.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And look, they already have an incredibly great running game, and they didn't have to use the passing game as much as they needed to or wanted to or could have in the postseason. They need to take that next level, though. They need to have a passing game that they can rely upon in a big spot like they couldn't with the Super Bowl on the line. All right, next one from me, and this one is close. I'm going to go Phillip Rivers, though, in Indianapolis because they didn't have a first-round pick. They added Michael Pittman, who they're already comparing to Vincent Jackson. And I hate those comparisons because it puts too much pressure on a guy. But still, Michael Pittman, the son of your former Buccaneers teammate, Michael Pittman, now one of the top receivers to go along with T.Y. Hilton in Indianapolis. And I think I've picked the Wisconsin running back. I've picked him so many times this week, I forget his name. Jonathan Taylor. Taylor. That if you can pump up the running game dramatically, that helps the passing game. And Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the draft. So between Pittman and Taylor, the Colts have given Phillip Rivers some help he needs to get the weapons around him to get the most out of that 1 year, and probably only 1 year with the Colts.
Yeah, well, they're that's Ballard. We talked about it a little earlier when we were talking about the AFC South. He got 2 first-round picks in the early second round. I mean, he really did. Michael Pittman Jr., the great thing about him is he'll be ready day one, NFL ready, physical, tough. It's going to be a receiver that Phillip Rivers has always liked, those bigger receivers who he can throw the ball up to, and Michael Pittman's physical will do that. And, Mike, I love Jonathan Taylor. I thought he was the second best running back in the draft, and he's a perfect fit for the offense that the Indianapolis Colts run.
All right, 2 rounds down. Chris has Drew Lock and Jimmy Garoppolo. I've got Josh Allen and Phillip Rivers. Quarterbacks who got the most help in the 2020 draft. Chris, you're on the clock.
Well, I'm going to my old buddy John Gruden and the Las Vegas Raiders because Derek Carr got some help. Hey, they needed to do this. I mean, again, we can say what we want about Derek Carr and, wonder how long his future is with the Las Vegas Raiders. And, yeah, I'm not so sure the personality meshes with a guy like John Gruden. But I also can sit here and honestly say they haven't put enough talent around him to really know how good he could possibly be either. And I think that's a very real aspect of this. And, man, with Henry Ruggs III, as the first wide receiver off the board, speed kills, as they say in the NFL. That was a great draft pick. They need somebody like that, and I think it's a good combination with their physical O-line and run game that they have, which is one of the better ones in football. But then you get a guy like Lynn Bowden, the quarterback out of Kentucky, who will be a wide receiver. I mean, he's like a Randall Cobb-ish type player. I think he'll be really effective, work in the middle of the field. And then the other hidden gem they got, Brian Edwards from South Carolina, kind of a bigger receiver, can do it all. I mean, one of those, again, the guys that was a little bit down the line as far as big-time names in the draft process, but big body, can beat you over the top with speed, can catch 50-50 balls. So I thought they did a really good job of finding 3 good picks at the wide receiver position that are going to help their team out pretty soon.
All right, I'm torn here between 3 different quarterbacks. I'm going to go with the MVP, not the Super Bowl MVP, the league MVP in Lamar Jackson, because of how much he runs. The J.K. Dobbins addition, plus Devin Duvernay from
Yeah.
your school in Texas, the 4.39 40. They had Hollywood Brown and Miles Boykin they drafted last year. They throw Duvernay on top of that. They have Dobbins to go with Mark Ingram. Makes it a heck of a lot easier for Lamar Jackson to keep doing exactly what he's been doing. And you've got this guy now in Dobbins who can really blossom into the guy whenever Ingram is done, and you can extend Ingram's career along the way. I just think that they are continuously looking for ways to go next level with that offense in Baltimore, and I think those two guys show us that they are not going to get complacent, Chris.
No, I mean, they added offensive linemen, too. I mean, we know that's a huge part of their game plan and approach. You know, they got an eye for that position and collecting big people. But, yeah, Mike, that's who I was kind of stuck with in my last pick was Raiders and Derek Carr, Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens. You know, J.K. Dobbins is just he's Matt Breida as far as straightaway speed, except he has power and durability. And then Devin Duvernay, in a lot of ways, reminded me of Deebo Samuel. I mean, you got Hollywood Brown going deep and a big running back type wide receiver and Duvernay going over the middle with that run game. That is a great formula the Ravens have created there.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.